Beloved comic book superstar Jonathan Hickman is back again, this time reimagining Marvel's cosmology for a whole new generation. What'll happen next? Well, let's hop into the pages of G.O.D.S issue number 1 and find out together, shall we? So then, as we join the book, we see some sort of crazy magical catastrophe happening in New York City. We're also reintroduced to Wynn, a mysterious man in red who you may very well remember from the pages of the Hellfire Gala where he made a small cameo appearance. Doctor Strange is there too, which something I think we can all agree is that Jonathan Hickman writes one hell of a compelling Doctor Strange. What's interesting about this exchange between Wynn and Steven, though, is we don't exactly know whose side Wynn is on. And to truly understand what exactly is going on here and what the stakes are, we flash back in time a whole 10 years, wherein we see a mysterious woman in white drinking at Brevoort's bar. Yes, that's right, as in Marvel editor Tom Brevoort. She says to the bartender that she's waiting for her husband, that they've been together for about 5 years now, and despite being very different sorts of people, they are very much in love. Her name, we'll learn later, is actually Aiko, which is Japanese for little loved one, in case you didn't know, and obviously I'm not bearing the lead on this one when I say that Aiko's husband that she's waiting for is actually Wynn. But of course, you're probably wondering who the hell is Wynn and why is he so important to the Marvel cosmology? Well, as we learn at a fancy New York rich person party complete with occult undertones and animal-themed masks, also known in the industry as pulling an eyes wide shut, that Wynn is not just any old regular person. He is actually the avatar of something known as the powers that be, which might be a ruling body, might actually be a person. It's a little vague at the moment. Wynn's full name and title is actually Lord of the Highlands, Root of the World Tree, and Salt of the Earth, in case that matters. Wynn is here tonight alongside his little helper, Dimitri the Science Boy. Think Morty to his Rick Sanchez, think companion to his doctor, to try and root out a demonic plot. It seems that the two people running this crazy party aren't actually human at all, but monstrous fake creatures who are going out of their way to try and select a wicked soul to devour. That would be bad enough in and of itself, but these guys are actually rank amateurs when it comes to demon magic, and they actually end up summoning a lesser chaos being. This means that Wynn has to roll up his sleeves and do the very unglamorous part of his job, removing this thing's heart so it can properly be defeated. This process is also very time-consuming, which sadly means he's late to his bar date with his wife. Now, why exactly did his wife call him here tonight? Well, she's excited because she got promoted at work, only here's the thing. Aiko doesn't have a regular 9-to-5 job. She's actually a brilliant scientist who was recruited for a secret society of scientists as part of their deep research program. This group is known as the Natural Orders, and apparently once you join them, you become essentially immortal, which is good because they spend their entire existence trying to root out the answers to the hardest, deepest, most cosmic questions that have ever beset mankind. You know, why are we here? What is our purpose? Etc, etc. And also, if you couldn't already tell, this means we have a husband and wife who basically operate on completely different ends of the cosmic spectrum. Wynn is all about magic and mysticism and the unexplainable side of things, while his wife is more cold, calculating, and scientific. Wynn obviously doesn't see this as a problem because, well, he loves his wife very much. Unfortunately, though, Aika is a bit more career-orientated than you might have thought, because apparently the only way she's going to get this important new post and promotion inside the Natural Orders is if she's willing to kill her husband. Or, at the very least, shoot him in the head with a science gun. Flash forward to the present and we see that Wynn survived that encounter, only now he has a milky eye and a cool shock of white hair. As we rejoin Wynn and Dimitri, they're already off to their next big major mission, one that brings them to the Sanctum Sanctorum and Wong. It would seem that once again the universe is under threat of a major calamity, one so titanic that it has brought together the greatest minds of both the magical universes and the scientific universes. In fact, we get a very nice splash page inside the Library of Worlds wherein we can see all sorts of fan favorites. There's Dr. Doom and Mr. Fantastic, Amadeus Cho, even Clea and Dr. Voodoo are there. Of course, Wynn ends up looking past all of these major players because he only has eyes for his ex-wife Aiko, who is also in attendance alongside her boss and the leader of the Natural Orders, an older man named Saint Miaur Cirquiel. It's this guy who actually gives us the skinny on what the hell is exactly going on right now. He says that the world as we know it is on the cusp of something known as a Babylon event, which is basically just a bad magic thing. The cause of this Babylon event is actually the work of a lesser mage known as as Cubsic Core. This guy stole a magical staff from the Living Tribunal that gives him the amazing ability to warp the laws of magic and reality. Essentially, he can cast spells that no one can counter. Oh great, he's that annoying kid from the playground who keeps changing the rules while you play. No, you can't hit me because I have level 5 wizard armor. Core believes that the gods that he worshiped created the known world, but that world is only a box, and that the only way that humanity will ever achieve a higher level of consciousness is if they break the box down. Now, while all the assembled heroes and villains come together to craft a plan to assault Core and defeat him before he can cause any real damage, Wynn has his own ideas about how they should go about stopping this Babylon event, one that calls for him to seek an audience with different members of the Elders of the Universe, starting with the Collector, whom he trades a rare multiversal penny that just so happens to feature the face of John Wilkes Booth instead of Lincoln, something that Taneleer must just have for his collection. In exchange, Wynn gets a rare spell book as well as a strange clock with 6 hands. They take the clock to the Contemplator, who, well, contemplates on it for a bit, as his name would lead you to believe. This kicks off an even more elaborate shell game wherein Wynn wins a prize from the Contemplator and uses it to bribe the Possessor to give him access to his vault, which he in turn uses to bribe the traitor so that he can use Eldrac, the Inhuman portal. Holy crap, points for Hickman for actually remembering that this character existed, and bonus points for actually using a cool Inhuman power. By this point, the assembled heroes and villains of Earth are absolutely whiffing it right now against Core, who is calling up all sorts of eldritch horrors to stop them. It's here that Wynn makes the scene, and Dimitri, as his sidekick, is sure to mention, oh, what exactly was your plan? It seems like you just had an elaborate shell game going on. The big revelation, of course, being that everything that Wynn traded in that last back and forth didn't matter at all, everything except for the spell book, which he drops when Core hits him. Up until now, all we knew about the book is that it was incredibly powerful, but we never actually knew why. That is, of course, until Core himself starts reading it, only for his mind to be absolutely destroyed by it. Yeah, that's right, that's the gimmick. It's a book that makes you dumber when you read it. And with that, the day is officially saved, and the events of the beginning dovetail here right at the end, where we see that Wynn was actually a good guy and was actually helping Doctor Strange and the others. He also did such a good job that he ends up reuniting with his wife Aiko. Oh, well, that's nice. And so that was G.O.D.S issue number 1, everybody, and I'll say this one, as a 60-page giant, it was honestly a lot to take in. Like all of Hickman's work, it's good. In fact, it's really good. The book has the very difficult task of having to introduce a ton of new characters, but this first issue does a good job making them feel really lived in and part of the bigger Marvel universe. In fact, they have been, we just didn't know until right now. Shiti on art is amazing because of course he is. Some of these bigger splash pages are absolutely jaw-dropping. And because they do so much in just one issue, the promise certainly seems to be that the sky's the limit moving forward for this series. I will say though, after all the build-up for this being the first big new original John Hickman Marvel story in a while, that the general setup here with the secret societies and a magical character who is both, you know, incredibly charming and incredibly mysterious and able to move between places with a fun-loving sidekick, certainly feels like pretty familiar comic book fare. Again, that's not necessarily a bad thing, and this is just issue 1. I'm sure there's plenty more twists and turns that I don't see coming yet. More than anything though, I think I'm really reminded of Hickman's work on New Avengers, where the storytelling was very granular and he really bunkered down and got into the whole mechanics of how everything in the Marvel Universe works, and if you like that, I think you're probably gonna like this too. Overall, I'd give this first issue an 8 out of 10.
Hey there everyone, it's your old pal Cape Joel again, thanking you so much for watching to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, why not check out my Amazon link down in the description. Yes, that's right, the Cape Joel channel officially has its own Amazon storefront now. You can pick up a comic or anything else for that matter, and if you did, you'd really be helping me in the channel. So with that out of the way everyone, I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.